5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I am a robot.
Hello, this is AKIA 3000, a Korean movie reviewing machine made by Professor AKIA. How are you doing? Today, I'll be reviewing a Korean movie called The Sheriff in Town, or in Korean, 보안관, starring Lee Sung-min, Cho Jin-Woong, Woo-Jin, Hye-Eun, Kim Kwang-kyu. You would have seen Lee Sung-min from the popular Korean drama 미생, but now he is the leading man. How is he? How is the movie? Wait and see. Thank you.
Introduction. Do protagonists of a movie need a character arc? Do they need to start at one location and end up at another? Do they need to learn and grow as a person? I might be asking the wrong questions here. It would be more accurate to ask whether protagonists need to be self-aware of the changes within themselves. This is because this will signal to the audience that a character arc was concluded. Many don't pay attention to whether an arc exists, and generate a valid, albeit but superficial, sense of satisfaction. In most cases, the answer would be yes. But I would make some exceptions depending on the tone and message of the movie. For example, this would be movies in which the lack of one's learning capabilities is the satirical or critical message of the movie. Another would be movies where there is a central character but the character is not the protagonist of the movie. These movies are more about the external aspects of the story than the characters. In any case, movies that decide to make its protagonist a static stone within the plot are tricky to do, as mistakes with the tone can seriously discourage audiences' interest by making it apparent that the protagonist doesn't have an arc. Thus, the audience doesn't care. This is the whole Korean movie called The Sheriff in Town, starring Lee Sung-min, Cho Jin-Woong, Woo-Jin, Kim Hye-Eun, and Kim Kwang-kyu finds itself in.
The plot. Where The Sheriff in Town finds itself on the genre categorization wheel is interesting. It is a detective action dramedy movie with a heavy regional neighborhood slice of life emphasis. As a side note, a dramedy is a film, television show, or theatrical work combining elements of drama and comedy. So, just imagine a movie with the more grounded comedic tone of movies such as The Burbs, 1989, starring Tom Hanks and directed by Joe Dante, combined with the clueless detective angle. You know, over the top, of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, 1994. The plot writes itself. You have a so-called veteran detective who has more bravado than sense or capability. He thinks of himself as an action movie cop but has no self-awareness. He is not in the psychotic manner, I would have to say. Just in the normal idiot manner. Other than this rather serious fault in character, he is your common middle-aged Korean man. The character would be a silly side, sometimes antagonistic, character in other movies, but he is our protagonist and the sheriff in town. So a twist. This character is played by veteran character actor Lee Sung-min. You may have seen him in many Korean movies such as Kundo, Age of the Rampant, 2014, and TV dramas such as Miseng, TVN, 2014. The movie really kicks in after the protagonist gets fired from the force because of his reckless behavior. He retires to his coastal fishing hometown where he opens a restaurant, and acts like the big man of the town. This is where the movie's title comes in. He is the neighborhood captain or sheriff. Years pass and someone from his cop days, a criminal, comes back into the picture. Even though everything seems up and up, our protagonist is instantly suspicious of the newcomer to the town. How does the saying go? Beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Or is A leopard can't change its spots, a better saying. So, the plot is very similar to movies such as The Watch 2012 starring Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. It is the comedy about suburb or rural people, who are suspicious of outsiders, go on a quest to see what is behind the mask of the newcomers, intruders in a Scooby-Doo fashion. Shenanigans awaits. The Burbs, 1989, is the same, although it has a central protagonist played by Tom Hanks, unlike The Watch 2012, which is an ensemble cast movie. Korean character actor Lee Sung-min is the Tom Hanks of this Korean movie, The Sheriff in Town, 2017. The rest of the movie goes as formula, with the protagonist doing wacky shindigs to reveal the truth. And the more he this acts out, he becomes less and less credible to those around him. The ending can go in two directions, but I won't say more. It would be a spoiler.
Walking among the townsfolk and joking around. The best thing about The Sheriff in Town 2017 is the interaction between the townsfolk. While not without dramatization, there is a lot of that. The setting and characters feel authentic. And I'm saying that as a native Korean. Although I'm a Seoul native, which makes me quite different than Koreans in coastal regions. You get my drift. How the folks relate to each other and form relationships of friendship, ego, manipulation, and power feel grounded. This is the part that is most enjoyable. What about a comedy? Is it funny? The priority of a comedy is to be funny. This is still true for dramedies like The Sheriff in Town 2017. How would I rate their movie in this category? It is middling in terms of its comedy. There are definitely funny moments in the movie. However, first, unique moments are distributed far between and unevenly. The middle section of the movie drags a lot as the humor gets repetitive. Second, since the tone of the movie is still more grounded than your typical comedy, the funny moments tend to not have enough lasting impact to carry us through to the next funny moment. Third, when the movie decides to go big with its comedy and action, the movie just gets silly and over the top, which clashes with its original more grounded tone. Overall, I'll say the comedy is so-so. It is okay, but nothing to call home about it.
Character in Stone. The major problem with this movie is not its plot or comedy. These are formulaic/generic but passable. The problem is with its protagonist, who ill-fits the movie. With this type of plot, there are a few ways you can go with a protagonist. It could be a vindication story arc in which a roguish but smartest person in the room, super competent individual, proves that he was mistreated by the lessor being around him. The protagonist would start out brooding and damaged but still able to show a glimmer of his super competence. The story is his return to grace. The other way to go is to have a common folk, your protagonist, encounter something new or invader that would disrupt his sheltered world, which he negatively reacts in an over-the-top manner. The protagonist could be just your standard Joe or a silly idiot depending on the movie's tone. The invader would spur him off on a journey that would either confront his self-view or enforce it. While there are variances, this is the gist of what one can do with a plot like The Sheriff in Town 2017. The important thing is that there needs to be a character arc, and the character should be consistent with the journey he takes on.
This is where The Sheriff in Town 2017 makes its mistake. The sheriff, our protagonist, isn't really fit. First, he is more of the standard Joe just with a badge but thinks he is a smartest person in the room, super cop. And this perception never changes throughout the movie. His so-called fall from grace was not because he was mistreated by his superiors, but rather he made an idiotic mistake motivated by ego that ended up killing someone. And he never really learns from this experience. When he retreats to his hometown after being kicked off the force, he basically creates a life there that enforces his oversized ego. As the movie passes the first act, the protagonist is spurred into action by someone that endangers that ego-filled life. and this is presented as a series of increasingly wacky and idiotic comedic shenanigans. The movie tries to present this as a chance for redemption since that someone is related to the incident that led to the protagonist's fall. The movie fails to properly establish this since his fall is really his fault and no one else's. What or who the plot makes him chase is only tangentially related to the character's motivations. At the end, this protagonist's character arc is basically about the protection of his ego. He never grows as a character and the movie validates all his personal flaws. As a comedy movie, you could actually get away with this if the tone of the movie was more over the top and the point of the movie was more satire. However, The Sheriff in Town, 2017, too grounded and straightforward type of dramedy for this to work. The result is that the movie give the audience a protagonist with no real character arc. If you don't pay attention, it may seem like there is one, but under close examination, there is none. More accurately, the movie fails to implement one.
Conclusion. As this type of movie goes, you could do worse than The Sheriff in Town, 2017. It is sometimes funny and has some interesting drama moments. At the same time, you could do better without much effort. There is a lack of direction for the protagonist that the movie was never able to overcome. In addition, the movie was not able to balance the tonal contrast between its drama elements and comedy elements. I would personally say that the drama works better. Finally, I think the protagonist played by Lee Sung-min is miscast. In many ways, the movie could have compensated for its tonal issues with an actor that could more subtly balance them in his performance. Lee Sung-min, while a decent character actor, wasn't successful in this area. Personally, I think he is better as a supporting character actor rather than a leading man. So, if you are going to watch this movie, watch it for drama than the comedy.
So, did you enjoy my review of The Sheriff in Town 2017 or 보안관 in Korean? The movie itself was pretty okay, but just okay. It could have been much better, and overall, the movie is rather just merely forgettable. Thank you, and have a nice day. Please visit me at kmovie.com, follow my blog, Facebook, and other social media accounts. Thank you.